It's a teen talk skating podcast where I embarrass myself. Hello, and welcome to episode number 52 of a Teen Talk Skating podcast. My name is Van Gogh, and episode number 52 of this podcast means pretty much is 1 year of a Teen Talk Skating podcast. It's the anniversary, it's the birthday, and it's been, almost I believe, actually, a whole year of episodes now, because the year is like 52 point something, right? I don't know my math, but just saying that, yeah, a whole year of episodes is crazy to me that it's already gone by so fast. I've reviewed like, I don't know, 30 competitions at this point, and I've talked about 50 million things in the world of figure skating. Thank you for all the love and support as I continue my very ridiculous rants. I've noticed a lot of support for the podcast recently, so I'm really glad for that, and I hope even more support will come soon from you guys, who I all love. I hope you guys are all doing really, really well this week. I go crazy basically every week, so yeah. But like, where's Netflix? Like, where are you? Like, somebody call like one of the Netflix writers because they need to write about my life. I'm just saying that Netflix needs to hire someone to like write about my life because my life is actually insane sometimes. Yeah, like there's like 50 million side plots going on, and like I don't know. I don't know anymore. But yeah, hope you guys are all doing well. Hope you guys don't have to call Netflix soon to get your life sorted together, but hopefully everything is going fine. That being said, I think it's a great time to transition over to the program of the week, and we have a really good one this time. It's very old, but it's very good. I love those like timeless classics, and I think that's what I'm going for this week. Yeah, time for that. Program of the week. Okay, you heard the theme song. I promised it. Here it is. I'm not gonna spoon feed you and not give you the whole spoon, right? Here it is. Brian Boitano, his 1988 Olympics free skate is our program of the week this week. Obviously, I think this might be the oldest program of the week that I've chosen before. It is at least among the oldest. I don't know if I've done before that, but yeah, Brian Boitano obviously is a very well-known skater. Coming from the U.S., South Park has a song about him, which is really funny. But this program, I actually do not know the music because I'm very unprepared. But this is at the 1988 Olympics, and this is such an excellent program, like, for its time. I really do think that it combines both kind of more classical skating and a more contemporary style as well. The music is from the silent movie Napoleon by Coppola. Um, and kind of the idea of this is that Brian Putani, he's kind of dressed in like a soldier's outfit. He's kind of pretending that he's a soldier the whole time. It has a lot of like military kind of inspired marching kind of music. And obviously, I think it really does kind of pump up the atmosphere, pump up the arena. The jumps here are just so well done. I feel like back then, particularly in this time period, the 80s, the 90s, they just did their jumps different than how we see skaters doing today. A lot of them didn't set up for too long. A lot of them kind of just swung their bodies into the air and just did it. And you see that a lot. Especially his iconic Tano lets, a triple lets with a one arm above his head, and then especially his triple axel as well. Kind of just launching himself in the air, kind of turning the other direction, launching himself into the air, and then landing it. Especially on the second triple axel, that's really well done. You can see that he lands it, and he just has like a giant smile on his face automatically. And I think that's super fun. So yeah, the technical side is really good. There is a flying sit spin where the flying part where he jumps into the spin is probably the highest flying sit spin I've ever seen. Artistically, I think this program is really well done as well. Like I mentioned earlier, kind of the combining the classical element with the contemporary element is a really interesting idea, and I think that Brian Botana does that really well. I really do get that kind of soldier, tough guy kind of vibe from it, while also having a lot of grace and flexibility within his acting elements. I really do think that it is kind of like ballet-esque, ballet inspired from his skating here. A lot of the arm motions, a lot of the leg positions. And so I do think that does really go together really well considering those two different themes. Um, and then what else? And then there's this at the very end of the program, he does a spread eagle and he holds this spread eagle for God knows how long, 50 million years probably, but it's probably one of the longest held spread eagles I've ever seen in my life. And it's just beautiful to see it go kind of spiral around a certain area, and the whole time he's leaning back onto it, and it's amazing to see what people were doing back then that is still so relevant and so good today. I even argue that this program would probably place like top 10 or maybe even like top 5 at a world championship today if it was done well with great GOE and everything. So yeah, definitely a timeless classic. Go check it out. Brian Boitano, his 1988 Olympic street skate in Calgary to the silent film Napoleon. So yeah, go check it out. And it is time for our main episode. I need to stop singing. You're going to hear me sing again. Oops. Well, see you there. That was your program of the week. I've named episode number 52 Back to Estonia all the time for a very specific reason. It is reminiscent of Taylor Swift's song Back to December. And you know, if it's a Taylor Swift song title inspired episode, then y'all know stuff is going down in this episode for sure. I do think that Estonia is kind of like a tourist. I wouldn't say tourist. It's like famous for being famous, I guess, in the world of figure skating. If you remember way back in the 2021-2022 was an Olympic season. Estonia held Europeans. They held four continents, which is the first time a European country had held four continents. Obviously, European skaters can't skate there. They saved that competition. And then when I forgot what country was it or what city could not host the Junior World Championships, Estonia was like, hey, I can do that too. And so I'm calling this episode Back to Estonia all the time because once again, we are returning to Tallinn, Estonia for the 2025 European Figure Skating Championships. Last time we saw Estonia was way back in 2022 at Junior Worlds, but here we are again, you know? It is quite a familiar face to us, and I think a hot spot for a lot of great skating that will happen next week as I'm recording this. I really do think Europeans this year will be one of the most memorable Europeans of all time, maybe. I know I'm saying that for like every competition this season, but it's just like there's so much competition this season that it has been absolutely insane to watch. Obviously, right now, not to cut into Estonia's little vibe, but right now I'm obviously watching. Not right now, but currently the U.S. figure skating nationals are happening. I'm watching those. I'm actually taking a break right now from watching those because the event's not on right now. But basically, lots to live up to. A lot of motion. A lot of emphasis has been put on these championship events this season. Europeans for continents and worlds. Obviously, Europeans will be the first one we'll see. And I think that it has a lot of to live up to, considering how crazy and how amazing this season has been. I do think Kaunas and Lithuania last year was an amazing Europeans in 2024, so I'm hoping that this 2025 will be a even better one. That was my AC. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but anyway, kind of thinking about Europeans. That was really high pitched. Thinking about Europeans is a very important competition, especially leading up to the World Figure Skating Championship in Boston in March. Even though it is a competition only for European skaters, a lot of those European skaters are, quite major skaters, quite big names to watch out for in their disciplines. Most major European skaters will be skating both here at Europeans and then at Worlds. So this really shows you who the front runners are, at least in terms of the European countries' delegations, who the front runners are to be top 10, top 5 on the podium at Worlds. And so this really shows that momentum leading up to Boston. And I really do think now, especially in the second half of the season, asserting your dominance is what it is about. It's all about momentum. It's all about asserting your dominance. All about, hey, making sure that you are kind of the one to beat. And I think that that is super important considering who we will see here at this competition. And I will also say that it is kind of like a clean slate, right? it isn't like the Grand Prix final, for example, where results from your Grand Prix matter. It really could be anyone's game. You don't even have to have qualified to the Grand Prix final to even be a big name here at Europeans, because the substantial international field is smaller with only European skaters, and that's in the past. That was the first half of the season. Your second half of the season could be completely different. We've seen skaters who kind of had a nightmare first half of the season totally come back in the second half of the season. And I think Europeans is one of those competitions where that often happens. And so with that being said, I'm very excited to start our preview for the 2025 European Figure Skating Championships in Tallinn, Estonia, which I will say does feature quite a few very wacky choices from me, but you'll have to excuse me. Quite a few wacky choices, but you'll have to excuse me. Starting with the men, right? The men. You can never really predict what's gonna happen for men. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's super chaotic field. European men have always been super chaotic. And I like a lot of the skaters, so it is hard to choose which ones are gonna be on there based on their scores, their performance wise, artistically, and honestly a bit of personal bias here and there. For example, just to show some chaos, last year Alexander Selevko kind of came out of nowhere, while maybe more expected names to be on the podium like Lucas Britsky, Denis Vasilyevs kind of faltered, didn't do as well as they hoped, while Alexander Slevko kind of had the competition of his career at last year's Europeans. And we'll be seeing some of those names coming up again here this year, with some new names added to the mix as well as some returning names. Okay, in sixth place, I'm going to predict of Switzerland, Lucas Britsky, who was the 2023 bronze medalist here at Europeans. And I do think that Lucas Britsky has been known to give good performances when and where it matters. 2024 Worlds last year was absolutely amazing for him. If you remember, he delivered, two of the best performances of his entire career to place, I believe, sixth place at Worlds last year, which was a major result, and a result that I think a lot of people did not expect based on his results at Europeans and stuff. But Lucas Brixey really putting his name forward last year. This season, though, it is important to consider not just last season, but this season so far. Scores-wise, he has not been too close to his personal best all season long. He has had good short programs and free skates, but not kind of together, kind of more separate. Good short program one competition, kind of okay free skate, okay short program one competition, really great free skate. He really wants to be able to put two good programs together. If he does, I see a very high chance of him. Oh, that's my mouse. A very high chance of him being able to reach that podium once again. His score last year, not the highest. He was second in the short program, then 10th in the free skate to drop to 5th overall at Europeans. Hoping that he can really keep two programs good, solid together this time. But his score at last year's Worlds, would almost have won him the title at Europeans last year. So I do think that is something important to mention. So obviously a large scoring potential for Lucas Britsky. It is kind of about how he can clean, how clean he can skate. So I am really looking forward to seeing Lucas Britsky. I feel like he does have a very unique style on the ice, and this season is definitely no exception to that. In fifth place is my, absolute favorite skater from Latvia. That is Denis Vasilyevs, who is, a very seasoned competitor now. He's been here many, many times in his career, right here at Europeans, competed here, however many seasons. He's a lot more experienced than a lot of the other competitors, which I think is important to consider. His medal here came in 2022, the Olympic season, where he won a bronze. I will never forget his Romeo and Juliet free skate. That was amazing to watch. But with Denis Vasilyevs, the important thing to mention here is his technical layout. That was so pumped. Technical layout. Sorry. I just like talking to myself, I guess. So far this season, he has switched his technical layout to include one quad Salchow in the short program and two quad Salchows in the free skate. Historically an element that has not been his strongest, but he has been landing some of them, not all of them, some of them recently. So it could be extremely value, valuable. It could be extremely valuable if he landed those properly and got good GOE. I do think Lucas Brisky. No, I do think Dennis Vicios is one of those skaters the judges love to like throw GOE at with good jumps, and I do think he deserves that. Technically, that will be kind of his breaking point, kind of his like deciding factor if he's going to be clean. Artistically, he is one of the strongest men in the whole field. Both of his programs this season, his kind of disco-y, very fun short program that's a little, I don't know, sultry. I have no idea. And his free skate that is a little more classical, um, a bit romantic and a bit, Prince-like, elegant in that way. I do think those two programs are very strong vessels for him and will be great performances to watch if his technical programs are great. And honestly, I am really biased. I just want him to medal so bad. I feel like fifth is kind of low. Like, why didn't I put him in first? You know what I mean? But I really hope that Dennis Vicios of Latvia is going to win because I want him to win so, so, so bad. Okay, I'm just saying, so bad. Anyway, in fourth place is a skater who I'm really hoping that this will be his result, or even higher for him. Obviously, I really do think it could be the comeback story of a lifetime, and that is Matteo Rizzo of Italy, who is coming back from injury. He competed at last year's Europeans, won the bronze there, and immediately got surgery, I believe, on his ankle or something like that. And he is coming back from in competition this season, and this season has definitely been a comeback journey for him. He wants to re-achieve those high scores that he, kind of once had, and he wants to go get those European medals again. I believe he's medaled at this event 2, maybe 3 times, I think, for Matteo Rizzo. And so he wants to be able to re-achieve those scores. He has been trying, interestingly, I will say interestingly, he's been trying the quad loop all season as his only quad, but he has been quite prone to under rotations on that quad loop specifically. So it will be quite the comeback of a lifetime if he can medal here. Obviously, he is wanting to avoid those under rotations and getting that quad loop done well. I still don't understand why specifically the quad loop and not like toe or like sock cow, but I don't judge. We don't judge. What's that thing they say on the internet or I don't remember. We don't judge. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, in third place is quite another. In third place, I cannot talk today. Oh my god. In third place from France, we have another skater who is coming back from injury, and that is Adam Xiaohim-Fa. After Grand Prix China, where he competed there, I believe he got third, I believe, second, third. Yeah, he got third. He was forced to withdraw from the Grand Prix final after sustaining an injury. It will be interesting to see if he has kind of recovered. It has only been 2, not even 2, 1.5-ish months since his injury. So it will be interesting to see if he has recovered, like really recovered. He has not actually competed since COVID China. He did withdraw from French nationals as well. So we do not really know what the status of his injury is, how well he's recovered. But I will say that if he has recovered well, and that's why I'm putting him in third place here, the possibility that he has recovered well, in that possibility, I definitely think he could earn a medal based on his previous performances this season. Not sure if a gold like last year is really going to be what it can earn, but I will say that I do think Adam Schoenfeld has the ability to do so if his programs are cleanly done. But based on his performances, I do think he could definitely get a bronze. And he is quite chaotic. If you remember Worlds 2024, he was 19th in the short, second in the free, and third overall. He wants to clean skates, though it could be chaotic. We never know with Adam Johnson. We never know. And so obviously I'm hoping that he can be careful and not re-injure himself. But, I definitely think he is the biggest enigma factor. That's my like fancy term to say I don't know what's gonna happen with this person, with this skater. But I do think Adam Schoenfeld is the biggest enigma factor in this entire men's competition, just for coming back from his injury. Not really sure where he's going to place, what he's going to do, and we will definitely see what will happen. I definitely do think it could go either way here, really good, or unfortunately not the best because of his injury, but that is totally understandable. But hopefully he will be able to put his best two skates out there. In second place, also a France. I feel like people would kind of scream at me maybe for picking this, but I do think this is possible. And I honestly, maybe this is one of those results that I'm like hoping is like, I'm trying to manifest. That's all I'm trying to say. Maybe this is one of those results where I'm like manifesting. And in second place, I have put Kevin Amos, also of France. After the disappointment of last season, I think a lot of people casted doubt, casted shadows, casted whatever they could at Kevin Amos and said that he was a bad choice, la la la. He's not going to come back really well, la la la. But after the disappointment of last season, Kevin Amos is having kind of a comeback redemption season. Last year at Europeans, he placed 25th, I believe, in the short program and did not how do you say advance to the free skate, unfortunately. But was it? Oh no, he placed 31st at Europeans and he could not advance to the free skate because of that result. But otherwise, he, last this season so far at least, he has done extremely well. He was second at both of his Grand Prix with really good skates. Even at Skate America, he got a personal best in the free skate, first in the free skate there, actually. Really good result for him. And then, some of his other competitions haven't been the best. Grand Prix final wasn't the best. French Nationals was quite the comeback for him after not doing so well last year at the same event. Um, and so we're really looking at what are we going to see from Kevin Amos, and that will be a really big question as well. If he is really clean with technical ability, his components will blast him out of the water, and I could honestly see him take the title. If he isn't so clean, I think his components will try to kind of help and save him, but unfortunately, I do not think that he will be on the podium if he isn't the cleanest because his technical content is not as high as some of the other men's skaters here. His quad toes are his only quads currently, and those landed cleanly will be his path to a medal position. I feel like so far in this entire quad in this entire 4-year Olympic cycle, this is the year where I feel most likely Kevin Amos will medal again at Europeans, and we will definitely see if that is possible for him. He has not medaled at Europeans before, but I do think that this could be it. This could be the year. This really could be the year for Kevin Amos to medal at Europeans. Okay. And yeah, that was for Kevin Amos. In first place from Italy, I have chosen Daniel Grazel, who is on the comeback trail as well this season. He is returning to competition after a very strange, kind of still mysterious, kind of unresolved doping scandal that occurred. No idea what happened, but the ISU hasn't really said a lot, and he has been kind of cleared to compete, I'm assuming, because he's been to a lot of competitions this season. But out of all the European men this season, he has really been the one to rise the most, score the highest, etc., on a more consistent basis. He did qualify for the Grand Prix final this season, which I think was a major thing, specifically, considering that he hasn't competed in a whole season, coming back, medaling at both of his Grand Prix, and doing, well enough that he qualified for the Grand Prix final and placed fourth there is a really impressive result. And, I do think that it is important to kind of consider how astronomically fast that kind of progression was. And I definitely do think that that was a really, that, I'm sorry. I really do think that is a very interesting thing to note is kind of his, immediate rise and comeback. What else? What else? His short program has kind of been his main enemy this season. He's had short programs that were cleaner, short programs that were definitely not really clean, but his free skates have been pretty good overall. And just, this season has been a comeback, but a very, very good comeback for him. And I do think that out of all the European men, he does seem the most likely to take the title. Definitely not 100%, sure all it is men. It is crazy. But he does seem the most likely. I think For him, the main thing is under rotations. A lot of judges, it really does depend on the judging panel, honestly. A lot of the judging panels we've seen have called under rotations on his quad jumps, which are really his biggest enemy right now. He really needs to avoid those. Likely going for the most complicated technical layout out of all the men here. He's likely going for, I believe, quad lutz, quad loop, and quad Sal cow, I believe, is probably his goal this season. Yeah, those three quads, as well as, triple axles and triple triples and etc. And etc. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But, obviously considering that it is going to be quite interesting to see how he will do. Components wise, is he the strongest? Not really, but technically that score could really bounce him out of the water for sure. For the women's event, that was the man. Great, great. The women's event is the biggest IDK at all. Like I don't know IDK. Okay, IDK. What's gonna happen? We thought earlier this week that we would have the return of the 2024 champion Luna Hendricks, who had only competed at one competition this season and would have been a very huge enigma factor coming back to competition after not appearing much in the fall half season. But unfortunately, Luna Hendricks has withdrawn due to injury, unfortunately. And, that is quite interesting considering, she was the champion last year. She was a very highly regarded, top rated skater, not coming back to competition, unfortunately. We will definitely miss her a lot. I miss Lena Hendricks so much. But a lot of the other women who have competed all season, a lot of the other European a lot of the other European women who have all competed this season, they've done really well, but no one is really, really, really be like the top, like I am the top skater right now. A lot of the women are scoring around the same score. And so that makes obviously for quite an interesting competition. A lot of these women I could see, I really don't know where they could be. I feel like because they are all so close to one another, any of them could be on the podium, any of them can be not on the podium, and any of them could be hundreds of a point away from each other, depending on what the judges go for. And so I really do think this women's event will be quite intense, considering that everyone is around the same technical potential. In sixth place, I have the home favorite in Estonia, and that is Nina Petrokina, who is coming back from some injury this season, though has made really great progress. At her Grand Prix, she didn't get her best ideal results with a 10th place and then a 7th place, but could be still be a surprise given two clean skates. Nina Petrokina is a very strong skater, in my opinion, in terms of the technical side when she can hit it. And I really do think that it could be her year here, if she scores really well. I will say that back when it was in 2022 in Tallinn, at home skating at home as well, she was absolutely fantastic there. Her free skate was definitely one of the highlights of that night. And so, perhaps that home crowd in Tallinn is going to encourage her again. No idea. I really hope the best for Nina Petrokina. Hope that she can put out a really big statement on her comeback journey. And I really do think that she will be very successful, if she can put two very clean skates together. In fifth place, we have a skater who made a very huge splash last season with a fourth place finish at Europeans, and that is Livia Kaiser of Switzerland. With the fourth place finish last season, a lot of people who had never even heard Livia Kaiser's name, me included, were like, "Oh, Livia Kaiser." And, it was quite the shock to see in fourth place Livia Kaiser, a name that not a lot of people had even heard of before. She was amazing here, fourth place finish last season. She went to Worlds, she placed ninth there, which was absolutely amazing. This season hasn't had a lot of that same success, at least on the first fall half of the season. But considering what she's been able to do at Europeans and Worlds in the past, I really do think she is one of those skaters who is going to rise to the occasion. She is going to rise to the occasion. She has struggled with a few, jumps here and there, a few popping, a few falls here and there. Her GOE might not be the highest, but two clean free skates. Oh my god, my brain. Two clean skates will mean a whole lot for Livia Kaiser. She's really hoping for a repeat of last year's two performances, even better than that, hopefully. I really do enjoy both her short program that is a bit mischievous, bit energetic, and her free skate is a very light, classical, elegant piece. And I do think that those two contrast really well together. Performance wise, I will say I think I enjoy her performances the most out of all the women competing in this event. So I do think she's got the component side locked in, the component side locked in, but locked. Oh my god, people, my Gen Z vocab. I really do think that she has her my throat. Oh my god, I cannot talk. I really do think that her component side is really good. Technically, she wants to stay clean. She has been having some inconsistency issues, but I'm hoping that she is really going to be clean, and I'm really rooting for her. In fourth place, we have a skater who I always say this every time I talk about her, who's gotten just better and better and better each season for me, and that is Lara Naki Gutman of Italy, who I am predicting fourth place, but I do think that she could be even better. I did see a comment on Reddit earlier that she does have the highest season's best out of all the women competing at the event. Obviously, that is just one competition, but that does not mean that could not happen again. That could definitely happen again. She did really well in some of her Challenger Series assignments, but the real gem, the real diamond came with a third place finish at Grand Prix Finlandia Trophy, which I still argue to this day after like 2 months that I do think that could have been a first place. Just in my opinion, just in my opinion. Sorry to hate on everyone, but I do think Lara Nakiguman could have gotten a first place at Grand Prix Finland this year. But you know, those two performances were absolute gems. Otherwise, she hasn't had the most consistent season. Some pops, some falls, some under rotations, but similar performances that she did at Grand Prix Finland, if they are the same kind of performances that she does here, could really get her a podium position here if repeated. I really do think that is the key. I hope she'll be able to repeat her performances and do really, really, really well. Regardless of how well she places here at Europeans, um, it will be a great result regardless, because I do think this season has already been so good with that Grand Prix medal. Really put her name on the map as someone to watch out for. And I do think you should watch out for Larinaki Gutman here at Europeans. I love her free skate. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, in third place we have from Georgia Anastasia Gubanova, who has quite the reputation for doing an okay. She's doing good. She's doing okay. She's done okay in the fall half, the first half of the season, and then Europeans is where she peaks. She will peak at Europeans. 2 years ago, we saw that in Espoo, Finland. We saw that Gubanova be like, yeah, I'm here, y'all, and she took first place there. Last year, we saw that in Kaunas, she took second place there. And, I do think this year, considering how well she's been doing in the fall half, I do think third place is probably where she will be. She was eighth at both her Grand Prix, which is okay skates at both of them. I'm really putting her here in third because I do think she does really peak at Europeans. It's happened twice already. So I do think it could happen again at third. Maybe third time is the charm. I don't know. With very clean skates that have, not a lot of underrotations, that is something she does struggle with. With very clean skates, she definitely could be higher or even retake the title. I definitely do see that as a possibility. I do like both of her programs this season as well. I do think they are quite pretty, especially the free skate. And I definitely do think that that will happen. But yeah, I definitely do think that will happen. But anyway, that's Gubanova. In second place from Belgium, we don't have Luna Hendricks competing here, also of Belgium, the 2024 champion, but we do have the European bronze medalist from last year, also of Belgium, and that is Nina Pinzerone, who, after a lot of success last season, including a European bronze medal, she is hoping to get a medal here again. She was fourth place and sixth place at both of her Grand Prix which, after qualifying to the Grand Prix final last season, were maybe not the best results that she was hoping for. Under rotations are really the main thing affecting her score, but otherwise, she has been fairly consistent and definitely one of the most likely women here to make it to the podium. She does have a fairly high season's best compared to a lot of the other women, so that's why I really do think Nina Pinzeroni will be back on the podium. Um, Let me think. What else? And I do think that she's done really well at her Challenger Series events as well. I do think Nina Pinzeroni will be on the podium if she is able to get there. Okay, guys, my sister came in the room, so now I'm gonna, I don't know. Oopsies. Anyway, I got a bit distracted, so we're gonna record. I already talked about Kimmy Rippon once, but we're gonna talk about it again. Anyway, perhaps this is quite a surprising choice for a lot of people who I'm putting in first place, but in first place, I am putting from Switzerland Kimmy Rippon. And I am putting Kimmy Rippon here because she is the most consistent European woman this season in a field where consistency will be the winner. Like I said earlier in the beginning of this segment, a lot of these women, very similar technical potential, very similar technical content, very similar seasons best, very similar personal best. And so I do think whoever is going to be the most consistent will be the winner. I don't think that skater necessarily has to have two perfect performances. They just got to be pretty good, and everyone else is kind of okay, not the best. And I'm putting Kimmy Rippon here in first because, except for one competition at the Challenger Series Nebelhorn Trophy, she has been above 190 all season, which is, not the best scores that this field has produced. There are women here who have scored above 200 before, but Kimmy Rippon being above 190 all season long shows that she is quite consistent so far, which will be important. Getting clean jumps will be really the key for Kimmy Rippon. She hasn't popped a lot, but she is often marked with a quarter call or an under rotation call that really does have to be avoided. Good GOE will be her way and path to victory. Again, maybe one jump off is, might not be good. The rest of the jumps have to be solid to get her into first place. Her 2024 free skate, for example, was an amazing, amazing, amazing skate for her. She was fourth in the free skate there with a very solid, perfect program. And I do think that is going to get her that kind of skate would get her on the podium. She was already third place in 2023 here at Europeans. She's looking to get back on the podium. And I do think Kimmy Rippon will have the ability to do that. Okay. So that's the women's field. My throat hurts already. In the pairs field, oh my gosh, I feel like pairs is one of those fields where it's just like, I have no idea. I have no idea. I feel like the top 3 pairs of this competition are incredibly competitive to the point where a single mistake could drop a pair from first to third to second to third to, I don't know. A lot of seasoned competitors, I do think that's important to note in this field. A lot of seasoned competitors, but there are also a lot of teams that are newer and developing, which is always great to see. In fifth place, we have the team from Hungary, Pavlova and Sviatchenko. They were fourth place at Worlds last year, which was a huge shock to the world. They are quite known as the technicians of the field. Their jumps, their throw jumps are relatively solid. Their components, however, are on the lower side. Unfortunately, this season, they haven't had the highest scores either, being, with cleanliness and everything. So cleanliness with good GOE is what they will need, but they have not had a totally clean competition yet, which is what they're aiming for here. If they are able to be totally clean, that could quite likely get them on the podium. But components wise, they are not the strongest, and so the technical focus will be of utmost importance. And so I do think the technical side will have to really be good to get them on the podium, as they don't have the higher components to kind of be a parachute or a safety net. Yeah. In fourth place, we have the Italian team of Giardi and Ambrosini. Second in 2023, third in 2024 at Europeans. Seems to be quite a lucky competition for them every season, and that definitely could be the case here again. I'm putting them here in fourth place just because they haven't had the best season so far. Some inconsistencies here and there. Comparing their scores to the rest of the field, just have not had as high scores so far. They did get a personal best short program this season, but free skate hasn't been the best, and so they will really need 2 very clean programs to get back onto the podium. I definitely do think do think they could do it again, considering how crazy pairs is. Italian pairs, especially, is quite crazy, and I do think we should look at them as a possible podium as a possible podium threat from Ghiardi and Ambrosini. In third place from Georgia, we have the team of Metzolkina and Borulava, who made great strides last season and a half junior, half senior season. This season, they are competing as seniors full time, first full senior season. They were first at the NHK Trophy after a fourth place at Skate America, which was a really great comeback for them. They were third at the Grand Prix final. Obviously, major achievement there. They are really wanting to grow that competitive success. Competitive. They are really wanting to grow that competitive success. With such good results at both of those competitions, at both or at NHK Trophy and the Grand Prix final, I do think that they really could be on the podium and even higher than third place. I definitely do think that um, that's possible, but I do think the more important thing, especially for a newer senior team, is that they want to build up towards Worlds, which is really crucial, especially for them, building up towards Worlds and potentially being a spoiler to be on the podium there as well. In second place, we have a team who won the bronze back in 2023, and after that, their season, their skating was a bit disappointing after all that success at Worlds, but they have really built back the season, and that is Conti and Masi from Italy. And they have really done really well at most. They have really done really well. They have really done well at most of their competitions, mostly above 200 scores, which is what a lot of the top pairs in the world are aiming for, which is what they definitely want as well. They are a team that has potential to be first place given the right conditions with two really clean skates. We've seen them, deliver time and time again before when it really does matter, such as at Cup of China, which was a really good competition for them, where they scored a new personal best overall. Otherwise, they have had relatively decent skates. Italian nationals that recently happened was two clean as a whistle skates from them. So obviously wanting to re-achieve that, wanting to re-achieve that here at Europeans. I do think that they are able to do that, especially considering kind of their previous success so far this season. They did not podium at the Grand Prix final due to okay skates, but I do think that with two good skates, they will be second here. Man, I'm getting so tired, and probably all the drama in my life. In first place from Germany, we have the team who have really been outstanding in only their second season together. That's Hasse and Volodin. If you haven't heard of them, where you been? They have really been the dominant force this season. Their only competition that they've placed less than first place at was a second place at Grand Prix China, where they were defeated by the Italians Conti and Masi that I just talked about. But elsewhere, they have been first place everywhere else. At every competition, just first, just 1 second, and then first at Grand Prix final. Back at the Nebelhorn Trophy earlier this season, they put out two performances that earned them personal best across the board and were, some of the best game they've ever put out. And so if they are able to recreate that performance at Nebelhorn Trophy, they will definitely be on the podium here. Definitely probably will be in first place. They were very close to getting a new personal best at the Grand Prix final. At German Nationals recently, it is a national competition, so definitely a different vibe there. But performances at the German Nationals were not the best, but they will really need that repeat of their Nebelhorn Trophy performances. That will go a very long way, or at Grand Prix final performances. But I'm definitely not saying that Hasse and Volodin are very set to be first. They could face a lot of challenges from the other teams here, but they have been the most successful thus far, and I do think that is important to note. But Europeans, has a reputation for being scary for pairs. Last season, Europeans was quite a unexpected competition, I would say. Last year, for example, the exact team, Hasse and Volodin, were fifth place in pairs, while we were shocked that Bakari and Guaris from Italy were in first. They're not even competing here. We have, teams kind of all over the place last year is what I'm trying to get at, and so could go anywhere. I don't know. This could be super shocking, and we could never know. Definitely a very interesting competition always. From the pairs teams. Okay, ice dance. Okay, ice dance. You know, I always say ice dance is the calm before the calm before after the calm after the storm of after all the other disciplines, right? Here in the ice dance field, I do feel first place and second place are quite set unless major mistakes will happen, which we have seen before, so we don't really know. Third place will be the real question mark here. I put 3 question marks in the row on this. Actually, third will be the real question mark, because we truly do not know where third place will be. Um, in sixth place, I am predicting the Spanish team of Smart and Deke, who have been the Iceland team that has made the most intentional international progress all season. I'm really impressed how they've gotten better and better and better. Their Dune free dance is, quite the crowd favorite and the judge favorite as well. They placed an unexpected third place at Skate America, which was a huge success for them. New personal best across the board. They scored at Grand Prix China. They were fourth there. And if the judges are really behind them, I really could totally see them on the podium. Just a lot of the other teams, I do think they have had a better season overall. But I do think Smart and D could be on that podium for sure if they have similar skates to what they had at Cup of China. Just haven't scored the highest. I do think that's why I'm putting them here. Um, Instead of higher. But again, definitely do think that they could score higher as we continue on as we see them. Okay. That was sixth place. In fifth place, I'm predicting my favorite ice dance team right now, the Finnish team of Turkila and Lewis, who I want them back on the podium so bad. If you remember in 2023, skating at home in Finland, they won the bronze medal. It was one of the best days, figure skating days of my career watching this sport, I guess. But compared to the other teams here, they just haven't had as high scores all season. You know, if mistakes are avoided and their GOE is extremely high, I definitely could see them get on the podium again. I'm really praying for them. I love their programs, their rhythm dance, their free dance. They're just a package, and it's just like they're just so good. They're so good. I feel like Turkey and Rich Lewis are gonna be like great to watch regardless. I don't care if they get a medal at this point; they're still the best in my heart. You know what I mean? I feel like that's how I feel a lot about underrated skaters. But I love Tequila and Lewis. I think they just don't get as high scores, and maybe technically they aren't the strongest, but artistically they always find a way to touch my heart, and I do think that is the most important thing while watching skating is which skaters touch your heart the most. I do think that is the most important. Um, Okay, so that was that. And then in fourth place, I'm predicting the team of Reed and Brulevicius from Lithuania. I don't know. I'm like, Lithuania, yeah. They were third at Europeans last year skating at home in Kaunas. They definitely have the ability to be third place again. I do think that, so far this season hasn't been maybe the strongest that we were hoping for it based on those, results that we had earlier this season or earlier last season at Europeans and then at Worlds. Third at Europeans kind of put a lot of pressure on them to be really good coming into this season. Maybe hasn't met that mark compared to some of the other teams that we were hoping for. Scores wise, again, haven't been the highest, really close to a lot of the other teams. I will say that they also have competed less than the other teams. They have only competed at, if I look correctly, I believe only only 3 competitions this season, which is not a bad thing. That perhaps they're spending more time training in Montreal where they train. But I will say that it could be interesting where that kind of goes as well. But yeah, really good results from Reed and Brulevicius so far. Just will be very, very close for that third place position. I don't feel that this is a very solid, pretty sure that they're going to be fourth or pretty sure they're going to be third. It will be very willy nilly about who will be third. And I do think any of these teams could be third that I'm talking about. Regardless, I'm very happy that Allison Reed got her Lithuanian citizenship so she can go compete at the Olympics next year. Yay. In third place, we have the French team of Loporeva and Brissot, another team who has made big strides on the international stage. This is a very, very close result that I'm putting them here for third. They have been a solid number 3 European ice dance team this season. That does not mean that they will be third here at Europeans. They did qualify for the Grand Prix final. They were the third European team to qualify for the Grand Prix final, which was a huge deal for them, hoping that they can carry on the success from skating at home. They're really hoping for very, very good GOE here. They haven't made any huge mistakes all season. Above 190 is where they've been, which is a good score. Really could get them the bronze here. They could be overtaken, so they are relying on good quality for their elements. Excuse me, I may have farted. Oops. I do think they will be a crowd favorite. I think their programs are great to watch. I think they'll be a crowd favorite. It will be interesting to see how they will skate here. Obviously, as I said, they have been the solid number 3 European team that people have been watching out for. Will they be able to recreate that result here at Europeans? I do not know. Could they be first-time European medalists, or will we see a team like Reed Ambrulevicius or Turkulevich Lewis get third again and get another medal there? I don't know, but I think that battle will be very competitive between Smart Deke, Turkulevich Lewis, Reed Ambluvicius, and Loporeva and Brissot. In second place, we have the British team of Fear and Gibson. Iconic, iconic, iconic. They are the only ice dance team. This is quite notable. They are the only ice dance team to win both of their Grand Prix this season. They won both Ski America and they won Grand Prix Finland this season. They were third at the Grand Prix final. They are, this is very interesting between first and second. They are looking to potentially move up to the top step here, given a very clean performance with high GOE. They have beat a lot of the top teams so far this season in the world. Could they do it again? I definitely think they could. They have beaten the next team before in the past. Can they do it again? I definitely do think they could if things happen. I don't know. In first place, I'm putting the Italian team of Guillard and Fabri, another one of my favorites. They were second at the Grand Prix final this season. They are quite seasoned competitors, long-time seasoned competitors with tons of experience. They've competed for more than a decade together, and so they are looking ahead to Worlds and clearly the Olympics at home in Italy and Milan next year. I really do think they will not lose unless they make major mistakes. If you remember correctly at Grand Prix France, they did have a fall in the free dance at Grand Prix France, and that did lead them to be second there. But ice dance could be crazy, but I do think that Guillard and Fabry they are a really great team regardless. I do think they will be first here unless major mistakes creep in, and I hope that they will not because I love them. But that was all for my preview, my very lengthy preview of the 2025 European Figure Skating Championships. Next week, we will be flying back to Kansas in the US for a review of US Nationals. My name is Van Gogh. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Teen Talk Skating Podcast. I know I talked forever about how serious this is and all the, whatever, but in the end, I hope you enjoy skating. I hope it doesn't stress you out and make you cry over your favorite skaters like it makes me do sometimes. I hope you enjoy your viewing of both US Nationals and Europeans coming up next week. And I will see you next week for a review of US Nationals, which will be very exciting based on what's happened so far. Very exciting. And so, yeah, I hope you have an amazing week. My name is Van Gogh. I will see you next week on a Teen Talk Skating Podcast. And bye bye.